Welcome back to Lessons of a Housewife. Stay tuned.
Today, this video is a tribute. It is a tribute to a man whose voice changed the direction of modern relationship conversations. I know y'all are wondering why it took me a while to do this, as my channel pretty much would be what he preaches. And the reason behind that is because while he was going viral, I didn't just want to jump on the bandwagon. I kind of wanted to take my time to do the video out to him. So I think this is a perfect time to give him a tribute and show my respects. This video is for Kevin Samuels. If y'all don't know who he is and y'all are watching this video, he was a man that was born in Oklahoma City, attended the University of Oklahoma for chemical engineering. At a young age, he had to face a serious health challenge, including battling cancer. And many believe that this might be what brought him to confront mortality early in life. It might have shaped how he viewed time, purpose, and responsibility that you should take on. But before his big YouTube fame, Kevin worked in corporate marketing, and he built his career as an image consultant. He helped many professionals improve how they presented themselves, how they dressed, spoke, carried themselves, and positioned themselves for opportunities. I think his relationship commentary came from many years of watching how people were judged in business and dating and even in social environments. I think Kevin Samuels understood how you show up determines how you were treated. So when he transitioned to online content, his audience exploded. And this was around the time of the pandemic. His live streams became very viral as he addressed certain situations and conversations that people were having but not willing to say publicly in the modern day marriages.
Why is it easier for women today in general, black women in particular, to believe a lie? I've said it before, your mothers failed you in teaching you what relationships were. There is a huge gap between the women who were raised and taught how to be wives and work with men and what they've taught their daughters. There are married women that do this and single women that do this. And until you ladies start questioning your mothers and the other people and say, why did you not tell me how important it was for me to get into a long relationship and build with somebody in my prime years? Because what you've been told is go out and do what you want to do, have your 20s, and then when you're ready to slow down, find a husband. Doesn't work that way, ladies.
He was interviewed by major mainstream platforms and even interviewed major figures in hip-hop and entertainment. But more than that, what made him a powerful voice was his consistency, his presentation, his discipline. He showed up in a suit with structure, with seriousness, and with a major message that men and women needed to hear. Now, in his personal life, he was married and divorced and had a daughter, and people will look at that as something to not listen to him by, because his personal life wasn't perfect, but nobody's personal life is, and he never pretended it was. I think his message gave it even more weight for many because he was not perfect and because he understood the costs.
But mothers cannot raise sons effectively to deal with male emotions. Emotions and testosterone are fucking dangerous. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a psychiatrist, and I was like, anyway. Pain has a purpose. But incorrectly channeled through the feminine emotions in a masculine frame leads to chaos and destruction. Because all it takes is that one bad decision, one wrong move, one wrong step. and you can have life-altering choices. This is why training is so important. Discipline is so important. Power is not a boy's game. It's a man's pursuit. Power in all things. Power at all times. The game of power is something that men worldwide approve. We understand.
But Kevin Samuels passed away in 2022, and we are now in 2026. He passed away in Atlanta with complications related to hypertension. And his death shocked many supporters, hit him with much sadness, as it gave the critics a reason to talk negative about him. Now, the reaction to his passing by many of his critics showed just how corrupt our society even is, what he was even pointing out, how people don't listen, how people don't want to address what's really wrong. They just prefer the sweet nothings regularly to comfort their lives instead of hearing the actual truth, instead of fixing what is needed to be fixed. Now, of course, he didn't speak to make people feel good. I don't think anybody that has a platform like this will speak to make people just feel good. His message made people think. And as I would love to have people think about marriage, about consequences, about accountability, about what it actually takes to build something that lasts. I think Kevin reminded people that relationships are not built around your feelings, around these sweet nothings y'all all want to hear, about fantasy roles y'all see on Disney. His message was telling many people that they're built on roles, responsibility, and realism. You come back to reality and understand just how much it truly takes to have a successful marriage, just how much we need to fix ourselves and become better. Which is crazy why it's so hard to listen to. Everybody wants to talk but don't want advice. Everybody wants to hear everything they want to hear but don't put forth the effort it takes to have the outcome. We live in such a sad society today. So his voice was the pinnacle of, or a pivot point to what needed to start happening in our society. What we needed to start hearing. What we were lacking. We were all lacking the father figure that was to tell us these things he was just saying. Men and women all have a dire desire, all have a desire to be fathered. And that's why there was many people, many women and men that kept calling back. Even with the blunt truth he was presenting to them and giving to them, many still returned and called, asking for more questions and more advice, because he wound up becoming the role we all needed, but lacked, a father figure. His critics didn't want to admit that and wanted to downplay his messages. Feminism didn't want to accept anything that he said. Weak men looked at him as a clown because he kept himself up. And it just shows right there with his passing exactly how much he was needed by the response of his passing from others. He consistently taught that marriage is about roles, that attraction and love do not replace structure. Marriages require long-term thinking goals for the family and understanding that sacrifice is part of the deal. When it came to the other side, when it was having to speak with men, he was just as hard. He pushed men to improve themselves regularly, improve their finances, their physicalness, their mentality. And if they wanted the traditional outcomes as well, that's what they needed to do, have leadership, provision, self-control, and direction. Just as much as he believed that marriage is a strategic life decision. Marriage is a long-term economic, social, and generational contract. And he also refused to preserve the feelings. Conversations that society tries to neglect, but now we're talking about long as it benefits them. He actually became the mirror that a lot of people didn't want, but actually needed. A long-term contract of sacrifice, duty, and alignment is marriage. And your reward from that is legacy. Anything without it would be utter chaos. I think Kevin Samuels wound up paying some kind of price for his messages that many are. He was turned into a villain. He was misrepresented. He was taken out of context. But even today, his audience keeps growing. Even to this day. That tells you a lot. And what I think it does state is that, the truth does not need to be liked to be effective. The truth does not need anyone's approval to be impactful. And a culture that teaches women to prioritize self over family is damaging. A culture that teaches men to delay responsibility is idiocy. A culture that sells independence while creating loneliness is chaos. And Kevin Samuels stood in direct opposition to that culture. Strong families will always create strong communities, and strong communities will always create stable societies. And when we have strong societies that are built on clear roles, accountability, and long-term thinking, we have all made it in a successful world. We have all made it in this country. And I think this is why he was so disruptive to the culture. Because when you tell people about the truth about consequences, you take away their favorite coping mechanism, which is the denial and their fantasy world. And I believe Kevin Samuels was definitely necessary to open the eyes for many. So I wanted to give him the most grateful shout out to him and his family that is still pushing his content, that is keeping his content going, and may his message never die. Because he was a father figure for many. He was a voice for a lot of ears that needed it. And I think that his role that he had in social media will consistently continue because his platform keeps growing. So I thank you, Kevin Samuels, and I thank his family for keeping his message alive. And I hope y'all enjoyed this tribute. Let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell to alert you for all my new content. Shout out to all the KS subscribers and his family. And as always, I truly thank you all for watching